So last night after we got back at about 8:30, we ran just the LED strip light up here for probably 2 hours. Britton did go take a shower, so then I turned on the amber porch light, and I don't know when she turned off that. We will say give it another hour. So that's what we ran out there. Inside we ran all night the Home and Garden LED strips that I put up, because again, they provide a nice night light, so Britton could easily see when she came in and not have to fiddle finding the light. As you saw last night, we were at 59%. We are now at 38%. We're at 13.5 volts. The other thing we also ran last night, which I forgot to mention, was the fan. As soon as we got back into the camper, we ran the DC fan on high in the bathroom. So that ran all night as well. This will be starting our third day here. However, again, we didn't get here until later Friday evening. Once we get to this evening, it's going to be around 48 hours that we've been running on battery. Normally, I would not do it this way. Our car has an inverter in it. So things like this, or my computer, if I had to, I would charge them while I was on the road. For example, my computer I charged fully yesterday while I was working. However, in the car, while you're driving and seeing the sights, is the optimum time to just make sure your computer is always charged, using your inverter that's in your vehicle while you're going around and seeing things. Likewise, making sure all your camera batteries are being charged while you're in the car driving. I only have a wall charger for these batteries, so I'm going to use the inverter right now. Again, normally I wouldn't do that. I would charge them in the car after we head out, make sure they're getting charged while we're driving to our destination, not even use the camper for that. This whole trip, my goal was to, once that vehicle is disconnected from the camper, not use any power from that vehicle to power anything else I am doing. That was my goal with this trip. So I am turning the inverter back on this morning. Turn the wall fan back on, and I am going to be charging my ham computer and charging my camera battery. Also, I've got an awesome solution for situations like this where you're not allowed to plug a generator in. I'm going to invest in the DC to DC converter. They're about 260 bucks for 60 amp. We draw, even at the use I'm looking at right now, it looks like around 60 amps in a day. So what that means is if it's a situation like we have here where you're not allowed to run a generator, I just back the car up. I could run the car for 4 15-minute periods. I could run the car for 2 30-minute periods and basically top off my battery. But as you see right now, we were around 35%. We're on the last full day here. I'm not even trying to conserve power at this time. I'm charging a computer, I'm charging my camera batteries, I've got an AC fan running inside. I'm not trying to conserve power. And I'm just learning this and trying to figure out how it works for me. But I hope these little field tests that you're seeing me do, you find helpful. Like I said, I've got 2 Battleborn batteries, 100 amp, so that gives me basically 2,400 watts of power. I'm glad I went that route. We haven't had to worry about power. Alright, so here we are. Ended up running the inverter today for only about an hour and a half to charge my little ham laptop and other things. And yesterday I ran the inverter for a total of 3 hours. 13.02 volts. I have now got the battery disconnected from everything in the camper, except of course the solar panel, which at this point is putting out obviously 0.3 amps, because we know that the battery monitor takes about 0.3 amps. So for a net gain of nothing, but at least we won't be using the full 10 watts that the camper uses when it's sitting idle. Again, keep in mind this also disconnects the power to the control board for the refrigerator, so there is no propane running for the refrigerator at this time. But the refrigerator is insulated enough that it'll still keep the food cold while we're gone for the day. Alright, we just got back. We are basically at 28% on the battery, 13.06 volts. So it went up a little tiny bit, but not a whole lot from where we left it, which was to be expected considering it's basically overcast and in trees. But that tells you where we're at. And it said right now we have basically about 18 hours left with the current usage, which is basically just like one light in there at the moment. So obviously it's going to say that we're hardly using anything. But that's the current update. I'm just changing our clothes after getting at the beach. Had to get my shoes changed because they're soaking wet, stuff like that. And now we're gonna head out to dinner. We could safely say we got 60 hours out of these batteries. From the time we got here till when they quit, using it the way we used it, we got 60 hours. So that's pretty good. That's with 2400 watts. Last night, Robin said, hey, can I run the wall fan also, which means turning on the inverter and the fan. That's a lot of wattage. It's 25 watts for the inverter, 35 watts for the fan. So you're looking at 60 watts just to do those two things. Plus, Alexa and all that other stuff turns on. So we had 70 watts going out. So this is pretty cool. Look at that. We are getting 7 amps from the car right now. That's pretty awesome. I'll unplug the car just to be sure we're not, what we're getting from solar. Well, we'll see. Hold on just a second. Oh, we're getting more than that because they got stuff on in the camper. We're at -4 amps with everything that's on the camper. As soon as I plug the car back in, at the moment we are +5 amps. So with our draw, we are still putting in 5 amps, and you saw a little bit ago 7 amps. They probably have something else running in the camper. That's really encouraging. As your battery gets lower, the car is putting in more amperage. So we're going to charge at least 5 amps when this battery is really low. That's really encouraging. Plus, I got things on, so maybe this thing would put out 10 amps if everything was off. Let me go do that real quick. Wow, we got multiple lights on here and the fan and everything. So let me just turn this off real quick and get a reading. I'll be right back, Robin, and I'll turn it all on for you. There you go. So going down the road, you're going to put about 7 to 8 amps in here when the battery is low. So that is really encouraging. So anyway, I'm connected right now. It's charging. It has been connected since about 9:30, so about 30 minutes. All right, we're here. The car was running and connected to the battery 10 hours. Let's see where we're at. So it looks like we got 13.14 volts, and we're still putting a little over 4 amps at this point in time. And I would say, based on what I've observed so far, that 13.2 volts is around 80%. So that gives you an idea what to expect with a Honda Pilot, at least pulling this camper for 10 hours straight, was able to put in roughly 80%. So there you go. If you were to use that math, if you were to drive 5 hours, that's going to fill your capacity of your batteries around 40%. And 2 hours will fill your batteries around 20%.